try to move around a little bit today. The day was Labor Day, September 7th, 1964. My family was gathered around our black and white television set, watching the second part of NBC's Sunday and Monday night movies, David and Bathsheba. Now, it was Labor Day, and so school didn't start until the following Wednesday, so this was the last night we could stay up late and watch television. And as we were watching the TV, this ad came on.
2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 6, 6, 8, 9, 10,
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. These are the stakes. To make a world in which all of God's children can live, or to go into the dark, we must either love each other or we must die.
Vote for President Johnson on November 3rd. The stakes are too high for you to stay home.
Scary, huh?
Yeah. Is that seriously?
That seriously came on. We were sitting there. Okay, do you guys remember this commercial? Jim over here says yes, Sandy says no. Okay, now what's interesting is that very few people actually saw it the night it was telecast. My family was the few. We only had 3 channels we could watch, and 2 of them didn't come in half the time. So it just so happens that we started watching David and Bathsheba the night before, and then that ad came on the next day on the part 2, because they always run those movies in 2-hour blocks. But you know what? David Susskind on his TV show, they talked about it. You guys remember Lou Gordon? Lou Gordon showed it and talked about it. It was on the CBS Evening News the next night. It was on the Meet the Press the next day. I mean, it was a big deal. Okay, now you have to understand, in that day and time, you didn't use something like that in commercials, okay? Now, a commercial they used a lot of jingles in commercials. All the way with LBJ. Do you remember that? You're older than I am. Okay, now, also, one jingle I do remember from 1964, okay? And I actually wore the green and white polka dot tie for it. Michigan needs a man they can trust, and G. Man Williams is the man for us. Yes, he's the man for us. Thank you, thank you. Didn't think you were going to get special music this morning, did you? Okay, now here's the thing, you know, Dean Milton Williams had a green and white polka dot tie. He wore every place with everything. And if you saw a bumper sticker that was just a green and white polka dot tie, you knew it was Gene Minnan Williams. He was the governor of the state of Michigan. In 1964, he was running for Senate against Phil Hardwick. He lost. But anyway, that's the way ads went. Now, sometimes the ads were testimonials, why I'm voting for candidate D or why I'm voting for candidate R. Okay? There were testimonial ads. There was also ads that were endorsement ads. For example, up in Flint, our congressman was a man by the name of Smith, and he didn't even bother to come back and campaign, but his advertisement was an endorsement from Robert Kennedy. Okay, and so he would say, I am John Smith, and I am running for re-election in this district. And this is my good friend. And Robert Kennedy came on and said why we should vote for this Mr. Smith. I can't remember his first name. He lost to Don Riegel that year. So, you know, 64 was the first election that I really took notice of it. Now, that particular commercial, without mentioning Barry Goldwater's name, basically told America that Barry Goldwater could not be trusted as president. And we're coming back to it. Try it again. Push the button one more time. Okay, that's where you want to be. And my phone just pinged me. Okay, so technology. God gave us technology so Satan can run our lives, right? So, you know, it's the FCC had a rule back then. It was called the Equal Access Doctrine. So basically what this was is that if you sold time to candidate D, then you had to give equal time to candidate R for a rebuttal. You understand how that went? Okay, you guys all remember the equal access doctrine. You know, if a new show gave time to candidate, you needed to give time for opposing viewpoints, which I don't know if it's good or not. The Supreme Court decided it was unconstitutional because it limited freedom of speech. But you know, if you were a candidate, you badmouthed another candidate, then guess what? They had the final word. And all you would be doing was spending money rebutting their rebuttal. So they kept their advertisement kind of light. They didn't build it on fear like that commercial was. But it seems like anymore, as we get into this campaign and as we get closer to the campaign, that's all the people, all the candidates want to do is to scare you to death, to get you to vote for them. Scare you about the other guy. Scare you about everything about them that you just don't want to, that you'll go out and vote. Because guess what? As Lyndon Johnson learned, who won by a landslide, you know what? If you scare people enough, they'll vote for you. Now, anybody remember President Michael Dukakis? Here was a guy who had an 18-point lead in the presidential campaign against George H.W. Bush. 18 points, governor of Massachusetts. 18, how could anybody mess up an 18-point lead? Well, it turned out that the federal judge came along and said, you have to get rid of some of your prisoners. You have to release some prisoners that are in there. And so one of the men that were released was a man by the name of Willie Horton. And Willie Horton went out and raped a woman and killed that woman. And so the advertisement went a revolving door in Massachusetts prisons. And that somehow Michael Dukakis was supporting rapists and murderers. It worked. That's how George H.W. Bush became president. Okay? Fear, it works. If you scare somebody enough, they'll vote the way you want them to vote. Donald Trump, going to ship all Hispanics back to Mexico. Even if they didn't come from Mexico, they're going back to Mexico. Let the Mexicans worry about it. Fear. When Barack Obama was elected, you know what happens when all of a sudden the person that you have been told to fear gets elected? You know what happens? We're afraid. We have a tendency to feel insecure in those situations. I remember when Barack Obama was elected, the emails I got, how he was going to do this and how he was going to do that. I once got an email that he was going to declare martial law and wasn't going to allow anybody else, and he was going to control the country forever. That didn't happen, did it? But you know what? We want to make you frightened. And Donald Trump, come on. People are still scared to death of that guy. And you know what happens when we get frightened? We send letters with Raisin in it to prominent Republicans, and we send letter bombs to prominent Democrats. When we get frightened, then all of a sudden, people think that they have to take action. Fear is one of those things that control us. Hey, candidate R is in bed with Big Pharma, and it will only be satisfied when you have to pay more for your health insurance. But candidate D, they're in cahoots with Nancy Pelosi, and they're putting your Medicare and your Social Security at risk. I almost came out today and brought all the mailings I got in my mailbox this week and stuck them up there on the screen. So, but you know, I realized I didn't have to do it because you have the same mailbox I do. Scare, 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 scare. But you know what? You don't have to go to the politicians to be frightened. You know why we don't trust politicians? I'll tell you right now. Are you ready? If you're watching me, politicians, you're scary. If somebody, all they want to do is frighten you, who's at fault? But you know what? It's a scary enough world without politicians. You're there watching television. Let's say you're watching part 2 of David and Bathsheba. And then all of a sudden there comes on the television. Deadliest malls in America. 2 of them in Detroit metropolitan area at 11. Now, if you're at the mall at that time, you want to know which is the most dangerous mall in America, right? You may already be at risk, and you don't know it at 11. Bubonic plague headed towards Michigan. News at 11. It's almost like you have to stay up till 11:30 to see what's threatening you today. Hey, listen, mosque bombed in Minnesota, a black church in Georgia, a shooting takes place, a white church in Texas, a blue shooting takes place, a synagogue in Pennsylvania, shooting takes place. Guess what? It's scary even to go to church anymore. But you know what God said? Do you know what God said? In Isaiah chapter 41, verse 10, he says, "Fear thou not. I am with thee. Be not dismayed, for I am thy God. I will strengthen thee, yea, I will help thee, yea, I will uphold thee with the right hand of my righteousness." It doesn't matter how scary it gets people. He's there. It doesn't matter how bad this country may go, and how the Lord will most likely someday punish it.